SimWorld presents Around the Table with E and the Fat Man.
What's up, everybody? It's me, it's the B.O.B., and I'm here with my man E. E, how are you doing today?
I am loving this weekend, Bob. Hopefully you're having a great one, too.
Absolutely. It was actually a little cool yesterday, which is what I prefer. I guess it was...
That's right.
I don't think the sun came out at all, and it rained a little bit. I wish there was some snow. I heard it was snowing at the Colorado spring football game, so I guess that's where I'm moving to next.
It's like that put a smile on your face, wouldn't it?
Hey, you can go ahead and move on to Florida, probably.
Right.
Well, this is Around the Table with E and the Fat Man. That is E. I am the Fat Man, and this is the podcast where we talk about whatever we want. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about New Kids on the Block.
The classic 90s band?
No, not quite. Not quite. There have been
because you wouldn't call them classic.
I guess you wouldn't. I mean, you might. That was like 30 years ago, E. That is classic now.
Don't frighten me. Don't remind me how old I am.
Like you turn on an oldies channel and you have, I don't know, Britney Spears.
Right? Christina Aguilera.
But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each of our three, I guess, favorite or maybe three new players that we're looking forward to seeing or that are going to be key components of their team. And these new players are generally going to be players that have joined teams after the season started. Obviously, we are about 2 months in. So there were some new players that joined, and there's still some new players joining teams now. So
there are. But I might throw a wild card out there too, Bob. I might throw somebody. Well, you'll see. You'll see when he comes up. He's new in a way. You'll figure it out. But hey, would you like to get us rolling? Throw your first one out there?
Sure, I will go. And these are in no particular order. But I'm going to go ahead and start with the North's Enzo Wolf. The North needs a spark. And they're 2-8 right now. They're on a 2-game losing streak. And I think Enzo Wolf can be or needs to be that spark for the team. He's only played in 2 games. He's averaging 8 points right now. He scored 10 in his first game against the Yacht Club, 6 against Rocky Mountain Monsters. And they have some other solid players there, obviously Marcus Leifat and Alex Rodriguez, but they just haven't really been able to put it together. And I don't think anybody expected them to get off to the start that they have been, but just overall, they haven't been good offensively or defensively. And that's why I think this guy, Enzo Wolf, 2 games in already, I think he's going to need to be that guy for them.
Yeah, the North has definitely looked shaky all season long. You know, the whole story with them was they lost their big man, Tyson Simpson, and how were they going to replace him and who would they be without him? And I don't think they're very happy with the answers they're getting right now. So I think it's a great situation. The North, go in there, shake things up, try to do something new. And I like this new German, Enzo Wolf, they've brought in. He is tiny. Keep that in mind. Don't ask him to lock down a guy on defense. I don't think he's got that ability in his bag of tricks yet. But it's tough. When you're 15 years old, you're 5'10" and 140 pounds when you're soaking wet.
Yeah.
So let's keep our expectations in line, I think. But I love you picking him out because first of all, I like him as a player, and secondly, it's a situation that needs some shaking up.
Yeah, and they're at a point right now. I know it's early in the season, but when you're 2-8, it doesn't hurt to try things out. I throw him into the starting lineup at point guard. Move Leifat down to shooting guard. Keep Rodriguez in there, but move him to small forward. I mean, he's a little bit bigger than their current starting small forward, Bird Culver. And it's not going to... I don't think it's going to hurt. I mean, give it a try, coach. Give it a try.
Hey, results of the first 2 games have been decent. Well,
yeah,
I'll take the ball into my court. Use a few different metaphors right in there. Oh, well. On this one, to throw mine out there. And Bob, like you talked about the North, a team that was struggling and a player there. I'm going to go to the Heartland Zombie Stars. They're 3-8. One. I guess if this was baseball, you'd say they're a half game ahead of the North in the standings if they were in the same division. But fine, they won one more game than the North. But Heartland, also struggling horribly, which I don't think anybody particularly expected that at the start of the year. But to give credit where it's due, Coach Skinny Washington has been changing things up there, shuffling the deck to try to come up with something that works. There are actually 3 players who are new to Heartland, and I thought about highlighting all of them at one point. I mean, the newest is Play Chi Young, who's averaging 11 points a game, but you also have Kirby Ordway there, who moved over from Indy, and he's definitely contributing, almost up to 10 points a game. But the third player, and the one I want to talk about here, is Carter Fields, 6'9", 250-pounder out of North Carolina, who joined Heartland midseason, well, early in the season, and has just been really consistent for them. I've got to call a couple of his games on SimWorld TV. Averaging about 10 points, a little bit more than 4 rebounds, and shooting up around 50%. But, in spite of averaging just 4.3 rebounds per game, he is actually in the top 10 in SimWorld among offensive rebounds. He's pulling down 2 a game. And I think that says something, about, first of all, what his abilities are, but secondly, a need that this team has. There's a 7-footer on Heartland, Ren Losey. And, he contributes. He's not useless out there. But having Carter Fields able to come in and play along with VJ George, now you've got 2 6'9" guys to go with your 7-footer. And both Carter Fields and VJ George, they're skilled. They're not just big bodies.
Yeah.
So, I think that kind of makes a difference too. I like the fact that Carter Fields, at 6'9", 250, he can really get up and down the court. He's not a plodding big in spite of that size, and that's because he's a great athlete. I actually expect him to just improve on these numbers we're seeing already over the course of the year as he kind of gets more comfortable, fits into Coach Washington's scheme. And Carter Fields, unranked right now, but I would be very surprised if he's not ranked by the end of the season, and I'd be even more surprised if he, along with these 2 other players, Play Chi Young and Kirby Ordway, haven't helped to turn things around substantially in Heartland.
Yeah, I think Coach Skinny Washington has put together a solid team. Obviously, the wins and losses aren't necessarily showing that right now, but he also hasn't been there the entire season. He's still trying to figure it out himself, but he has put together the nice thing about him is he has a team where he can move guys around. He's not going to have the same starting lineup every single week. He's going to move guys in and out. You have the 7-footer. He's not starting for them, which you would think he would, but he's going to start in if he's going up against the 7-footer, likely Ren will be in the game. But he doesn't need him right now. He has some more athletic bigs like Winterton and Carter Fields is technically a big.
George, at 6'9", 250, that's pretty big.
and a little disappointed that Carter Field. There was a Renzo Bryant to Carter Fields that did not make the top 10 this week. I'm a little disappointed in that, but I guess. But Carter Fields. I think that's a good pick. He's a solid player, averaging 10.3 a game. I don't see any reason why they can't go on a little bit of a streak with who they have there.
Yep, I'd agree. All right, Bob. Well, that's our first one, both of us. Who is your second pick? Newcomers.
So I think that I have to go with, and this is a little difficult, but I'm picking players on teams that are not doing so great because I think that these particular players could potentially help turn them around. So I'm going to go with Mustafa Bamba for Africa.
Ooh.
He's been there. Yeah, he's been there for 3 games, averaging 2.9. Well, he's not averaging 2.9 per game. There's something a little off on there. He's averaging about 6.5 per game. 6 points in his first game, 4 against the Originators, 10 against Southeast Select. But this SimWorld Africa team they need a spark outside of Fagbenle. He's obviously averaging 20.4 a game. He is a great player. Wherever he ends up going to school, they're probably gonna have a decent year. But who outside of Fagbenle is there? I do think that they have I have two Actually, I'm so sorry. I just realized I said the wrong name. And I had everything.
Wait, what?
I said I I said the wrong name. I see there's a little bit of an issue in my notes that I took. I have two.
With Bamba being the wrong name?
Yes, Bomba was the wrong name.
Okay.
I am
Who
so
are you attempting to talk about?
I am so sorry, Pierre Dupont. I am so sorry. So in my notes, they both have the same name. What happened? I don't know.
Okay.
So I apologize. Let's go ahead and jump to Pierre Dupont. He is the player that everything I just said, it was really about him. No, I mean, he's averaging 6.7 a game right now. He has only been there for the 3 games. But I think that him, Fagbenle, and he's been a little bit of a disappointment, but Khaled Ali, I think I think that's a solid 3. I think that's solid 3 players. I think that they need to. I don't think they're in the best positions as of right now, but I do think that for Fagbenle to be able to lead this team, that DuPont is going to have to be a guy that steps up. And I think once he gets some more time, and obviously he builds that, he builds some chemistry with his teammates. Because again, it's 3 games. You can't expect somebody in 3 games to all of a sudden. Look how long it took James Harden and the Sixers to get it together. So, I mean, I guess it takes James Harden a while to get together with anybody, but whatever. But yeah, Pierre Dupont. And I apologize again. I just had my notes down wrong. I don't know why I had Bamba, but
it happens. Well, let me get a few comments in. First of all, AJ Fagbenle is absolutely one of my favorite players in SimWorld. Loved him last year. Love him even more this year. I don't want to spend too much time on him, but I'm not sure that there is a better next level prospect in the SimWorld Hoops game outside of possibly DJ Wagner, other than Fagbenle. I mean, 6'5", 200-pound, can play point, is a scorer, good rebounder. I mean, just, if you haven't watched much Africa action, don't lose sight of AJ Fagbenle because he can really play. But yeah, Pierre Dupont, an American, kids from New Orleans, who has joined the Africa squad, and he's already emerged as their top shooter. I mean, he's just been really efficient, shooting well above 60% in the 3 games for them. And, if you haven't heard, big news recently, Africa knocked off Southeast Select.
Yeah.
And the big story was Fagbenle, and it should have been. He had 30 points and 8 rebounds, but second leading scorer in that game for Africa was Pierre Dupont. Yeah. Who shot 80% from the field. And, as you're saying, maybe that's just kind of what he does, what he brings. I think it's a needed, addition. Love the size he brings at 6'6" and 210 pounds or so. And Pierre Dupont, no relation, as far as I'm aware, of the prominent DuPont family, the philanthropists and businessmen behind the DuPonts, but
former sponsor for Jeff Gordon.
There you go. Well, I'm not sure if he's a proper DuPont. We'll have to get some background info on that, but maybe he's making the DuPont name known in his own way, and I like that too.
So, I got my 2. Got one more, but give me your second.
No, yeah. Let me do my thing. Well, this is another situation where I want to highlight a player who, even if he's not a statistical standout yet, I think fits a really critical niche on the team he's joined. And that team is Gotham 5, the 7-3 Gotham 5 squad. And I'm talking about Tank Hughes, 6'4", 180-pounder out of Florida, joined the team. He replaced Raheem Dandridge, which surprised some people. There were some Dandridge fans out in the SimWorld community, but Tank Hughes took his spot. And really what Hughes brings to Gotham, and we've seen this already, is he is a deadly accurate shooter from outside, which sounds strange to say about a guy who's shooting 32% from the field right now, which he is. But I think it's worth noting that in only a few games and in very limited minutes, he is already the number 4 3-point shooter on this G5 team. He's made 7, which trails only Mbako, Major Williams, and Keon Anthony. Already up to averaging 5 points a game. And outside of Mackenzie Mbako, which he doesn't always get in position to do this. We've seen it sometimes, but at 6'9", kind of be able to play a swing forward as well as kind of big guard position. Anyway, Mackenzie Mbako undoubtedly great shooter as well, but I think what Tank does is a little bit different. First of all, I think he just shoots at a little bit higher, more efficient clip. And I like the fact that he can move without the ball, get in open spots, and when defenses are collapsing on Aaron Lovejoy and Mackenzie Mbako and Syer Matthews and Major Williams and Keon are driving into the paint. You got Tank sitting out there on the corner or at the top of the key waiting on that ball because good chance if you get it in his hands, he's going to splash that thing through. Tank Hughes, talk to me at the end of the season. Let's see how this prediction has turned out at the end of the season. Let's see if he's shooting more like 50% and maybe even better from that from deep, and see if he's not a key addition off the bench to a very good G5 team.
Yeah, it's real interesting to me what he's been able to do so far. I mean, he's already halfway to, a little under halfway to leading the team in threes at this point. I mean, he has 7 in how many games again? Was it?
I think
2
3.
or 3?
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that he has been able to make such an impact in such a short amount of time. I wouldn't be surprised if he pushed for some starting time a little bit later down the road.
I mean, it's tough to break into that lineup. You can't get Lovejoy, Mbako, Major, or Syer out.
No,
it only leaves one spot.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, somewhere. But sometimes you have to have, not sometimes, the best teams have good benches. And as long as he can accept coming off the bench, because there are some players that just can't. It took Carmelo Anthony how long to finally accept that he needed to come off the bench. But
as his son is learning now as a youngster for G5.
Yeah, but you know what? He's going to be there for probably 3 more years. So
agreed.
But yeah, no, I think Tank. That's a great pick. Who was he with before? He was with another team.
All right. Well, I have to check my notes on that. I did not realize if that was the case that he transferred over. I thought he was a in-season signing. Yeah. I could be wrong about that though, Bob. Your recollection may be better than mine.
Yeah, I can't remember who he got cut for some reason. Whether it was, I think there was some disagreement. Maybe he wasn't showing up to some practices or something. But yeah, I mean, his first game of the season was against Gotham 5. So yeah, no, I can't remember off the top of my head. If I'd known you were picking him beforehand, I would have done some research. But yeah, no. Because I remember because his name Tank Hughes. It's you're welcome. it's a stupid joke, but hey, whatever.
Yep.
So good pick. Do you want to go last? You want me to get my?
Yeah. No, I like it. Let's double up on me. Double up. And we will kick it back to you to close this out, Big Bob. So my third pick is, this is the one where I'm going a little bit off the grid in a way, in that not going to throw somebody out there who is new or changed teams or, joined a team midseason or whatever. I want to talk about Sky Buckner-Williams. Now, let me answer the question everybody listening out there just had, which is who? Sky Buckner-Williams has been on Best Coast Ballers all year long out of Davis, California, which is a beautiful part of Northern California, and I love the University of California, Davis. That's an aside point, though. But, Sky, been there all year, played in every game, and he's averaging 1.8 points and half a rebound and half an assist. And he's shooting less than 40% from the field. So at this point, the second question everybody has is, what is Ilava talking about? But, very important but, as I think everybody knows, there was recently a big subtraction out in Santa Barbara, and that was Mikey Williams, who, due to his legal issues, has been removed from Best Coast. And I have heard reliably that It is a mutual parting of the ways. He's not coming back, and SimWorld Hoops isn't looking to have him back, so it'll be 1,000 to 1 before you see Mikey on a SimWorld court again. And people on Best Coast got to step up, is what it kind of comes down to. Now, I don't know how much SimWorld TV maybe you've been watching lately, but if you were with us the other night and you got to see Best Coast in their first action without Mikey beat Gotham 5. Beat them by 4. It was a close game. It was a good game, but they beat them 79-75, and the defense that we saw from Best Coast was crazy, harassing, pressuring it. You could tell it was just getting G5 completely out of sync, and there were a few players who stepped up and played well. June Johnson, not a name a lot of people know, but the Tanzanian can ball. He contributed. Landon Coylton he's the only 16-year-old kid on the entire Best Coast squad, and he's going to have to step up more, and he did. He had some critical free throws down the stretch to win that thing, too. Mm-hmm. But Sky Buckner Williams, not known as a defender, doesn't have that reputation at all, actually just known as a shooter. And he's only 6 foot tall, 1'80". Oh my Lord. He was a defensive pest. G5 had no answer for him. I think 3 straight possessions he had rips. He just looked really, really good out there. He looked reborn. So I'm hoping that Coach Aaron Murray gives SBW, who I think could be so good he deserves the nickname SBW. I think he maybe needs to, if not get him in the starting lineup, get him out there a lot more. I was impressed. I was super impressed by what I saw from him composure-wise, defense-wise. And like I said, if there's one thing he actually came into this year, and SimWorld having a reputation as, it was a shooter. Now, the guy's only made 1 3 on the year, and as I mentioned, he's not even shooting 40%. He's right on 39% just from the field overall. If he can live up to his reputation there, and if he can continue to show me what he brought to the table against G5 the other night, Sky Buckner Williams, as an individual, may be on the turn of having a midseason breakout here. And as I talked about on the broadcast in that game, this may be a rebirth of Best Coast. They may redefine themselves now based upon defense. And I think that's a lot of credit to what SBW and to a degree June Johnson have brought to the table, at least in early returns in the post-Mikey era. So Sky Buckner Williams, not a new kid, but kind of a new kid, reborn, and he rounds out my 3 selections for this show, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good pick because he's going to have to. Mikey Williams is a huge loss. This was one of the, I would say a top 3 backcourt in SimWorld Hoops whenever Mikey was there with Lasterius Outlaw. Yeah. We can't say that right now. But
no, probably not again.
Probably not again. But if Sky can play a key, and I mean the Gotham 5 upset was huge for the team.
Yeah.
But he is going to have to. He's going to have to turn it on moving forward. Yeah. If Best Coast wants to continue to upset these players, I just don't think Lasterius Outlaw can do it alone. And I still have that sour taste in my mouth from the end of last season. With him, and it's going away, but it's very rare that one player carries a team by themselves, and I just don't think Outlaw is going to be able to, not because he's not talented, but he just needs help. Look at Africa. In fact, Benley needs help. So, it's a good pick. I think very, very good pick.
Well, and keep your eye on Best Coast. So, by the way, Sky Buckner Williams only played 7 minutes in that win that he had 3 steals in. Didn't score, but, made a huge impact. Let's get him some more minutes maybe out there in California.
Bump him up to 20.
See what you can do. But, hey, at the same time, there are other players that are contributing. June Johnson, 12 points in that win over Best Coast. Landon Coylton had 11. Akil Huber is another name that you're probably going to get more familiar with, as he's just going to have to play more. 5 points and a couple rebounds to go with the steal. Lots of players emerged for Best Coast in that G5 upset, and we're going to need to see more of them. And my personal belief is that Sky Buckner Williams can be a key part.
Absolutely. Well, I guess I will wrap this up with the final pick.
All down to you, Bob.
And I feel like it kind of feels like cheating. And
it probably feels good then.
and I'm surprised. I'm surprised, but not surprised that you didn't pick him. But I have to go with Suno Chapa.
Oh well, yeah.
It's kind of had to cheat a
Can't
little
argue
bit.
against it.
He's been with Gulf Coast for 6 games, and I mean, I think he potentially already planted himself as a top 10 player.
Yeah, he should be in the rankings. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, he should be no lower than probably 20. He's just been an absolute force since he joined them. He's averaging 13 points right now, 13.7. But his last game against Yacht Club, he had 19. He's only gotten better. Averaging 19 against, or had 19 against Yacht Club, 17 against Best Coast Ballers. I just think that as long as he continues doing what he's doing, the Gulf Coast is going to potentially be able to turn it around, because the biggest concern we had was, they have a great player in De'Aaron Cruz. So I will say, let me say, I did jump the gun saying Chapa was probably top 10. But
put him in the rankings. That's enough.
He'll be in the rankings. Like
at the time.
There you go. I'll say top 30 for sure. But I mean, De'Aaron Cruz, he needed some help, and we didn't know who that was going to be. Because there was nobody else on the team that was necessarily stepping up. But Chapa, since he has gotten there, he has absolutely stepped up, and I think it's gonna be good for Gulf Coast in the long run. I think they're going to completely turn their season around now because of Chapa joining the team and taking a little bit of pressure off of De'Aaron Cruz.
Yeah, we got to see some of this, or I got to see some of this. Hopefully everybody got to see some of this because they were watching SimWorld TV on Saturday. But Gulf Coast just smashed Dominic Bianco and the Yacht Club. And Suno Chapa had a very nice game. Great size, 6'5", 180-pounder, just 16 years old. And he has already emerged as the number 2 behind Cruz scoring threat on this team. And the thing that I really like in terms of fit is that probably the weakest part of Gulf Coast is that they lack shooters, outside shooters. There's just nobody who's kind of that Tank Hughes we were just talking about, who can just reliably step up and drain. Suno Chapa is probably as close. I'm not going to call him an outside sharpshooter. That's just not really what he does. He's more of an offensive creator. But that said, again, for somebody who only joined this team, while play was already underway, he's by volume their best 3-point shooter on the Gulf squad, and shooting over 50% from the field overall too, while averaging more than 13, almost 14 points a game. Pretty darn impressive. He can create his own shot from outside too. I like that. And I like the fact that he's also a soccer player. Kid's just a good all-around athlete. That sort of rounds you out as a player and athlete, I think, to have another sport that you're dedicated to. And his first love, his original love, Suno, was soccer. So seeing some of those moves and some of that discipline kind of there as well. But I was really impressed watching Gulf Coast over this weekend. To be honest, I thought that Yacht Club was going to come in and win that game, and boy, they just got spanked and sent on their way. And Suno Chapa was a big part of that. I understand why you could have seen him on my list, and I love it that he's on yours, Bob.
Yeah, but you're right about the having multiple sports, because every sport, you could probably look at every sport and they focus on something different. And for basketball, for somebody that has played soccer, man, and that would be good for football as well. The footwork. You're going to have good footwork, because you should probably have good footwork if you played soccer, which I think will translate well and being able to control your body more on the basketball court. So I do think that overall, again, I think Chapa's going to shoot. He's going to shoot up the rankings, obviously, but I think by the end of the season, we could potentially be talking about one of the top 1-2 punches in SimWorld Hoops with De'Aaron Cruz and Suno Chapa.
Yeah. I think the more those two work together, the better they're going to be, and that's scary. Look, this team is only 4-6. Nobody's really talking about them, and they shouldn't be. But that might change.
They're going to be. So that was each of our top 3 newcomers. I do want to, just since I left everybody hanging earlier regarding Tank Hughes, he was on Beast of the East to start the season.
There we go.
He was on
Wow.
Beast of the East to start the season. Again, there were some issues there. He had to step away, whether it be voluntary or not. But he's back now, and he's back with a vengeance. So,
Yeah.
Well-
yeah, this is all true.
well, E, as we wrap up the episode, is there anything that you want to say to the people?
Oh, well, no, just thanks for being with us. I want to remind you, I did the Saturday broadcast on SimWorld TV. Want to remind everybody that SimWorld TV will be back. Not coming back till Wednesday, but we're on Wednesday. I got a triple header coming up then. All of them good games, but I got to say I am looking forward to Rocky Mountain Monsters and Cascadia.
Oh, yeah.
I like the Monsters, but they have been on a little bit of a roller coaster in recent weeks. Looking good one game, looking terrible the next. And for Cascadia, Jaffet Towns and the rest there,
Oh, yeah.
always entertaining to see them. So looking forward to that.
Oh, absolutely. Who's going to be on them broadcasts?
So on Wednesday night, I believe it's going to be me.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be there. I'm not sure who I'm working with that night, Bob. Maybe it'll be you.
Maybe you never know. But thank you guys for listening. And as always, if you want to be a player or be a coach, head over to the Discord, SimWorld NBA, and make sure you follow us on YouTube. Watch the games. Almost every single day. We take some breaks every now and again, but pretty much every day there's probably going to be a game. But I appreciate you guys listening. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Bye, folks.